let's go over here to page Kuf Ayin, where we stopped off yesterday on number Kuf Samak Vav as we are reading the Tivik Abonos. And what we've been learning over here is the Arbitamim, 4 reasons why Lamed Sark La Sosa Tzitzis Besofa Talis. Why it has to be at the end of the Talis. And we had a little bit of introduction. Now we're going to this. He says, B'yesh ol tam sheni lebar madurat tzitzios enem izgalim berosh. So why do you not see them up at the head? El rak besofa talis only at the beginning, at the bottom of the talis. B'hu kisha ha'or ha'makiv ha'elyon nikwa talis levona. So he says it's called a white talis. V'hu merumez b'talis sh'anu lovshim ba'olam hazeh. So he says it's called white, and something about the whiteness, but he doesn't explain at this point why it's called, why it represents our the clothing we wear in this world. So this is the great light, the great makif, and so we see as we look at it that the light, this great light, which is the light of the makif, the hetiru, that is the talis, rather that from the talis. So it's the light is so great that it's like a, I think that's the one where he said it's like a candle at noon. Both in shor hamakiv hakatna nikrat tzitzis, who could deem or haner hakatan like a candle, the umas haor hamakiv hagadol nikrat talis. Shehukadimian ora hagodol shal hashemish, which is like the light of the sun. V'lechein or hatzitzis, he says hakatan matal beikuso, so its quality or what its shining ability becomes nullified. El amul or hatalis hagodol or haner halom. This is the or umas or hashemish. V'lechein or hatzitzis batal legabe or hatalis. Shahare ein b'yecholtenu lahasig es or ha'atzum ba'agadol shal hatalis. So therefore, this word lahasig is it means that we can't reach. I think it means it's beyond our realm. Shemak paskein ein kedusha b'tala v'nizrakis canal, and then therefore it's from. Yeah, I don't know what nizrakis means, but there's no kedusha, so therefore I guess you could throw it around, or you could just handle it like it was anything else. Now, the connection between the fact that it's unattainable for us, unimaginable, I guess, also at the same time for us, so therefore we treat it, we don't treat it like tefillin. So I'm not sure exactly how that metaphor works, but that cause and effects work. For Kaden she'ein lona chasaga ba'or hatalis, in kach in kain hech amrinin hochi shaha'or hagodol shal hatalis yochel levatal this or hakatan shal tzitzia. So the question I guess he's asking is that, well, so what? So if that's the case, how do you know if it's beyond our ken? How do you know that it's mevatal the light of the tzitzis? Akatiritz zehu d'masha sheninu she'ein b'kocheinu lahasik es or hatalis. So what does that phrase actually mean? Kol zechav rak be'erik aleinu shokne aretz hatachtona. That's only by us. So he says, avo lo amrinin machmas kain ha'or hagodol shel hatalis. But just because we down here can't appreciate it or can't get to it, he says, doesn't mean that it's not happening. Ain't a mevatal es or hatzitzis. So there, he says that it's not mevatal, the light of the tzitzis. Shahababade she'etzema or shalatalis l'mala b'cholamas al yonim. If you looked at it, or in Atzilus or beyond that, who or gadol ma'or is a tremendous light. And when Meluchum Mevatal is or Hatzitzis, and it's so along the way, you know that's going to nullify that light. The B'shum Kach Ein Hatzitzis Mizgalim Ela Rak B'Sof V'Talis. So therefore, you have to get to the end of the talis. Well, I guess he's saying is that the light doesn't go beyond it. Shehu Hamakum Shibachum Nistayim or Hamakiv Agadol Shalatalis, which is that place for the Chen Rak Sham Maskil Hisgalos or Hamakiv Akatan Shalatzitzis. So this is where we see the small makif appear. La'el, so he says, Kanisker La'el Shahamakiv Shahal that the makif that goes with the talis, Yoserim in the Or Hamakiv Shalatzitzis is greater than the light that's surrounding the tzitzis. Mifnei Ma Hatzitzias Mizgala Besofa Talis Daika, but the question is why they're Gadol, V'Olob Emseisa, B'Makam Barosh, not in the middle, over where you might put your head. Shahazera B'Kabel Esamochim Shadocha B'Bin Anai the Ima. Okay, he says that we're on number Kufayin test now. He says Shachazan Mekabel es hamochim shadach b'min anai de'ima. So where does the mochin come from? The nai de'ima that comes into Zer Anpin, and nachsebesach b'mniu, so that goes into the inside of Zer Anpin. Ba'ofen shemin anatzach de'ima hazach b'kabel es muach ha'chochma shalos. This is where he gets his chochma min or that whole line actually. And then the de'ima b'kabel es muach habina, or the line of bina. And then the yisod de'ima b'kabel es muach hadash shalom. For yisod de'ima the hiyosu kotzer, so the yisod of ima, in the fact that it's short. L'chein hu mispashet, so therefore it spreads. B'pinimyo za rak adachazer shalo, in the inside of zak only to his chest. V'adachazer the za and to the chest of za. V'kevin shara yisod de'ima magia b'pinimyo za. So since now we see that it comes into the inside of za adachazer the za. L'fichach ha'chasada v'hagavuros and himsocha b'das the za adachazer, which is where they're located. Heim b'kusim b'yisod de'ima amispashet ha'sham. Therefore they're covered over in the yisod of ima. V'kevin shara ora shal chasada v'hagavuros mekusa b'yisod de'ima ha'nimsach b'pinimyo zaka b'adachazer shalos, which are found in the inside of their armpit until you reach his chest. V'chein adachazer the zaka b'ein ora chasada v'hagavuros bokim. So therefore they're enclosed in there. So therefore it's not able to shine down into the lower place. So at this point they don't break out, and so therefore they can't shine down there. So he says this light that we're talking about, which goes all the way down to the chaza, hem shcharim, they're black. Now let me just read that again. He says, "Mishum kach ein ha'or shel chasada b'geburos yicholim lahor ba'or ha'makif ha'kat mishuchat tzitzios kemin she'ein bokim mechutz." So since they're closed up, so they're black because they're not out. I guess that's what he means. They're not out and they're not revealed. On the Emer al tzitzios, what did we say about the tzitzios? And they extend down to the chaza until you get to that place, then they're going to be black. V'huva be'idra b'parshas l'sol be'gugolas ha'roshel zer anpin yotzim elef alafim riva v'riva v'baba zaguda b'shera b's'arishchara. So he has all these black hairs coming out of his head. Shahas ha'aretz yotzim v'resha de'erik anpin hem levonim. And when they come from Erik Anpin, they're white. V'chas ha'aretz yotzim v'resha de'zera b'hem shcharim. In which we saw this yesterday. So now he says, when they're all red. in Shar Gavonim, besides the fact that the red is the basis, but all the other colors are there as well. Shar Gavonim in Kolza, Nikra Hamara, and Edom Bechazak. So you see that this is the strongest. The Edom is the Bechozik, is the hardest one, is the most powerful one. So there, the pasuk that he brings up, Dalas Rosh Ka'argaman, he says this refers to the Nook. But the now, which we said came from the embryonic stage, so they're going to be black until they get to that place. When they get to the nukva, they could be red or purple. So there, since they're black, it's like they blend in. I don't know what he means. If you said that is a definition, perhaps, of the fact that they're not revealed to us. But that's only until the place of the chazah. But once they're there, this is where the chasadim now appear. Okay, back again. The chasadim that are revealed at the chest is up, so they shine, therefore, onto the kotzim, which are going to be the tzitzit. As the kotzim are shchorim, they start to whiten those black hairs, hanikroim tzitzis. Because when they become whitened, now you can see them. So now you see that you could see them, they're revealed. So he said the b'shum kach, and for this reason, in our world, ain't tolim as a tzitzis, we don't hang the tzitzis only at the end of the talis, because that's the place where the whiteness takes place. And that's where you can see them, because before that they're black, they're closed up. It's like dark. I guess that metaphor is that you can't see them if they're dark. Yesh od tam nosef l'kach she'or hatzitzis mizgalna b'sof hatalis, where we see that they are revealed at the end of the talis. Shulchan b'makom b'chazah v'hu ki b'makom b'chazah dezah. When we see that when at the place of the chazah dezah, sheharei b'parts of hazah niknasim nai the abba v'nai the ima b'sod mochiv. So now at this place you have the appearance of both the chazah of the nai of abba inside of the nai the ima. They're both inside of Zeranpin. It's more inside because it's covered by Ima. The Ima is on top of it, he says it. For this reason, until you reach the chest of Zeranpin, the Ima is all covered over. But once you repass that place, Shosham Mistayim Yisod the Ima, where the Yisod the Ima stops, Mizgalach Yisod the Abba Begilui Gomor, Megamri, Belishi Yihol Labush Yisod the Ima, tremendous light comes out now. Yisod the Abba Megula B'Magam B'Chosodazah, Meir or Godo B'Elach Tzitzios, it shines out a tremendously strong light onto these tzitzis. Let me see. So now you have this revealed light, which is really going to turn on the spotlight on the tzitzis for Ayidei Ha'aras Yisod the Abba Be'ela Tzitzios. And as a result of this Ha'ara that comes from Abba onto these tzitzis, this causes the tzitzis to become whitened over at this place, Mizlabani. So he says, Umekevin Shatzitzias Mizlavin B'Makam B'Chazadazal. Now we have two different reasons why it gets wrong. One is from the Chassan of Avima, and now we have one for the tremendous light of Abba. So therefore it's at the chest, specifically, where they're seen. So the Chutad Tzitzis, so they need to be white. So this is because of that fact. So they act together to whiten the tzitzis, and they reveal them at the place of the chazan. So he says, Rav Nevar, Malkut tzitzis, the Lovin, and Malkut tzitzis, Techelis. So he says, he's going to explain that. I'm not sure that's what he does here. Let's go on, but that, I guess it means it has to be explained. The next one is called Hatam Lishir Atalish Yakones Barosha Varovo. So that's the word here, Rosha Varovo. So he says, In Tomer Vahara Atalis Hu or Makif the Kol Za. He says the Atalis is a or that's Makif all of Za. Kamiska the Ale, and we mentioned this previously. In case, if that's the case, how is it that they're revealed at the chest? So we see that over there, there's no, the talus doesn't stop there. But actually, it actually covers, it goes way down. So since this is not something that we have an appreciation for at all, we're just outside of our ken. And it's only because of to remember it, or to notice it, or what is to recognize it. And also to be able to recognize how the tzitzis come out of it. So therefore we're not worried about it. And this is the reason why the rabbi said this. Sheshir hatalis hazeh hu kadesh yakase rosha v'rovo. It only really needs to be at that size. Though shikase rosha v'rovo below yoser. Bashir zev hu ad makom b'chazah. So what is this place that it really what we call the rosha v'rovo? It's to the chest. Ki kevin she'ein lana chasagabo. Since we have really no appreciation at all, it's like way far away from us. And this is the place where they are whitened, the Mizgal Sham, and they're revealed there. We're not concerned about the fact that it actually goes down further from the chazah, since it's the main point of it is at the chazah. And it's enough that it has a measurement which goes down to the chazah. That's sufficient for the talus, he says. At the Salas Agodo. Rosha Varova. And what is that amount? It's Rosha Varova. For the Fi Shalamalo, so since he says, since we say that since it goes up Lamala Menachaza, Yesh Chamesh Spheres Keser Chach Babina Chesa Gavura. So when you get there, you have what is up above. He says, well, you have the Kachav, and then you have the Chub. Those 5 spheros are located in this section, which is called Rosha Varovo. Shuhu Machsis Eser spheros, which is really half of the spheros. There's 5 of the 10. V'yesh od shlish elyon shel spheros et tiferes, and then you could throw into that also that part of the chest, that is the upper part of the chest, below that goes for the chazah going upwards. The chazah shabo is also part of that mix, so it's really like 5 1/3. So let's go over here to number Reish Yud Beis in the Tiva Kavanos, and that's right here. Reish Yud Beis says like this: the kasha, that's a problem. What is the phrase? In Tomer Hare Atalis hu or Makif the call Zarkulo, so the kasha, the halo or Makif shal Atalis, hu or Makif Agodosh Makif al Kol Spheres Dezah. Covers over all of the spheres of the hind all called parts of mamish. Being came hech kosav rav shor hatzitzis mizgala because of the zal. So then how could you say that the light of the tzitzis, since the tzitzis doesn't stop there, it actually is a longer garment? Shahare or hatalas shu hamaki vagola, because he says the light of the talis, which is the big maki, ain't a nipsak because of the zal. It doesn't stop at the chest of zal. Elohim is pashad ad self parts of a zal, but it spreads until it reaches the end of the parts of a zal. Ve'im kain ich or hatzitzis mizgala bechaza. So you tell me, he says, how could it be revealed? It's covered over be'or hatalas ha'omad alav, which is standing over it, and b'chasar alav legamri, and completely and totally covers it. B'yesh liyashev, so that you can make an answer like this. Ki anu shochne aretz atachtaina, so where we live in this world, ba'arkenu, if we look at it in relationship to us, ein or hatalas musag lonim klal, the light of the talis, well, it's not something that comes to us. We don't know about it. We only know that it exists. The call Masha Anim is Atfim, and what we call, or the way we wrap ourselves, the Lovshim Asatalis, Zechu Rak the Zecher Ba'alma, it's only as a memory. What's the right word for Zecher here? It's a recognition. It is a memory, or recalling that fact. B'or Hamakiv Shal Parts of Azah. V'lasos Heker Shal Tzitzios, Hem Or Hamakiv Shal Pedimios, Or Hamakiv Shal Atalis, and to know. And to do and make a recognition, or I'm still trying to get the right word there. Okay. Let me go back. It's for the purpose of Hakara. Says Heker Shatzitzis Hema or Hamakiv Asher Benimias or Hamakiv Atalis. It's just a hecker. The way that we do it is to really remind ourselves that there's something going on out there where you have the or cotton inside of the or Hagadol. So we're concerned that we're not concerned then, because this is a heker ba'alma. He says the asas atalas amakiv is called a partziv. Kenin shebein kach lo masigim as or hamakiv shalatalas, because one way or another we're not actually getting to the light. We're not really demonstrating the light. We're only making a hecker. Ella ashir shalatalas hu k'dei lechasos rosh of aruvo, the actually the size of the talis that we need to be dealing with is where we're able to cover over the head and the majority of the body, or at least the upper third of the body, shall aguf below the matam, and not below that. Rosh of Arovo. Now, what do we call when we make a shear of the Rosh of the Rovo, a Nizkab of Gemara, who meharosh for the chazes from the head until it reaches the chest. So the reason that it's sufficient just to make your wrapping it seems like it's saying that that's the way to do it. Because without this, he says, if you don't do this, there's no way to recognize what it is that is going on with the talis. Specifically for this reason, that this is the place where the tzitzios are mislaving. V'sham b'makom b'chaz, then over there in the place of the chest, nizgalo or chatzitzios begilu gamor. There's where you really would see them, if you had the ability to be able to see them. It doesn't really matter if it goes down before that. Because now you're getting the recognition that you're looking for, and it's sufficient. If the size of the chaza is only the talis is only to the chaza, Kadeva says makon legalo says or hatzitzit, because that's where you need a place to be able to reveal the second makif. The or hatzitzis mechachaza lemata shesham makom his galusa, because that's where it is seen. V'ein tzorich lachashat tallit atef gam misham lemata. It's not necessary that it goes from there also all further downwards. Now he keeps using the word masigim, and he wants to say that it's beyond our recognition of the ability to be able to understand it, appreciate or reach it, something like that. However, it's leaving me dry a little bit. So the reason why we're saying that the size of the tallis has to be until it reaches the chest. Who's shir rosh v'rovish laguf. Now moving on to Reish Kaf Dal Shahare, he says like this: called parts of kolum me'eses spheros. Every parts of has 10 spheros. Both in shemachsis parts of ki chamesh spheros. So if you split it, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And memelika shechem nechshav as shlosh spheros kochav sheberosh v'imo chesed gedavur shebeguf az hem mohuvim as chetzi parts of. So they come, or they are made into half of the body. Kihim machsis meisus me'eses spheros, that is the half of the 10 spheros. He said, if you join to that also the upper third of the talus, azhim chabesh spheros shehim koach chug, so which are those 5, the shlish sphera, and the third sphera that you have to throw in because you're also at the chest is ready. So because the chesed and gevurah represent the arms, so to speak, and the zeran pin, and the chest is separate, which is from the chaz lamalo. B'harei rova parts of shebeklalo rosha v'ruva. Okay, so we have just a very little bit of time. I don't know if we could start to just read across the top of the first one. And we'll say, this says, Tam Rami Misha'anim Ashira Anaka Bakatan Daika, so why does it have to be the size of a cotton? I didn't notice him saying that, but that's what he says. So he says, what? It's really Rosha V'Rovish cotton. Hatam Kul Fish Ein Atzitzios Hey Mamochin De'iver HaNikra Mocha Dekatnas. You want to, okay, we got just a little bit more. But the Chaim Talu Hadav Bekatan, so therefore below Begadol. The Nimsa Kafi says, so it comes like this: Tzarik Lahakpid Bashir Rocha Vatalis, she Kabbalah called Rosha, that it should be able to, he has to have a talis at least big enough to cover over the person's head. The God called Gufa, also his body, Panim Va'ach. So he says this concept of Panim Va'ach. But died is that. So that's enough said about that. The name of the Ghani died. It seems like the meat, the Shemat Memorizal, he talas begematria. It comes to the gematria of Ezra Chavayas the Holofim, which is 450. Begematria ma the Horas ki who or makit also sphere the zal. That is a more makit the next sphere for who zaz the 45. Ashechab who so immediately Holofim the makanoid, because he's the one that can who he is. He's the 45, and I'm really a little bit doubtful about this. Okay, thank you very much for learning with me today, and we'll get into this a little bit more. Kol Tov.